start with static routing. Let's see how it works. So let me first make the setup. So I'll have like 3 routers. Okay. And then I'll have 2 more PCs here and 1 more PC. I'll add it here. And to make connections, we use by these particular things, so it can automatically make the connections like the wiring. So press the control and then you can select it in one go, and you can do it for all. Wait, second, yeah, this here and here. Yeah. Now the this configuration is done. Like I mean, the wiring is done. So we need to now assign IP addresses to it. So yeah. So here, firstly, so between each interface there will be one particular uh, network, which it so between each particular interface there will be a network. So we need to assign it first. So I'll just let's say this is a 10.0.0/24 network, and this is like 20.0.00/24 network, and this is like 30.0.0/24 network, and here we have 40.0.0/24 network, and here let's say 50.0.0/24 network. Okay, so now we have that between we have given the networks. So I need to configure IP addresses for it. So the systems in this particular network will have as it is a /24 network. So we'll have it like 10.0.0.1, and here it would be as it is a 20 network. I'll be assigning 20.1. Similarly for here I'll try to assign dot one, and for this interface it will be 30.0.0.2, and for this interface it will be 40 point because it is a 40 network, so it is true. And then here it will be 40.0.0.1. Here it would be 50.0.0.1. Let's see here, 50.0.0.2, and here it will be 10.0.0.2, and similarly here. Okay, we are done with it. So normally we planned what are the IP addresses it should take. So now I need to assign these IP addresses to the PCs and the routers accordingly to make it work. So firstly, we'll start with PC. Let's check. I'll show you how we can configure. So uh, you double click this, and then you'll get this interface. You go into the IP configuration and add your IPv4 address here. For my this is 10.0.0.1. So now we are using 24 as our CIDR. So our subnet mask would be 255.0, and default gateway is like whenever I send something, what is a particular gateway the packet should cross through. So here our default gateway is 10.0.0.2. So it will be like 10.0.0.2. Yeah, done. And now for PC1 as well, you do it like 20.0.0.1, and it will be like 255 and 255.255.0, and default gateway would be like 20.0.0.2. Done. And similarly here it will be like 30.0.0.1 subnet mask, as it is a 24/24 network. So yeah, and the default gateway would be, look at here, the default gateway would be 30.0.0.2. 30.0.0.2. Done. So we have successfully configured IP addresses for all these 3 PCs. Now it's time to configure IP addresses for routers. To do that, we should will use this terminal, enable configure terminal. Uh, to look at these modes and privilege modes, all the modes that are available in the router. If you want to know more, I'll put on a video. You can just go through it. So now what you can do is we need to go onto a particular interface. So let's say I want to configure this particular interface. So I need to go into gig 0/0. It will be interface gig 0/0. And for this interface, the IP address is 10.0.0.2, which I want to configure. So I'll be like IP add 10.0.0.2 255 255.255.255.0. Okay, it's configured, and I'll like no shutdown. Just to restart or to put it up. So then now this now you can see this line is up. Similarly, I'll do for remaining interfaces. Now I'll go for gig 0/1. For gig 0/1, the IP address corresponding to it is 20.0.0.2, and this is like the subnet mask, which remains same. Okay, and then I'll be like no shutdown. So if you are wondering what was the particular command I was going through, I'll just put it down here. IP add, and it's like the IP address of interface. Okay, IP address of interface, and then I was going through sub. Okay, yeah, I'm going through subnet mask. So that's what I was doing, and yeah, I'll just do one thing. I'll color it up so that it's visible. Yeah, you can look it here. Sorry. Yeah, here it is. You have it here. So that is the thing I have been typing. IP address of the IP add, IP address of the interface. Specify it clearly. Okay. IP address of the interface and then subnet mask. So similar thing we are going to do with this particular thing. Just follow the same guidelines. Now enable. I was following the configure terminal. Previously we followed the shortcut form. You can, this is like a long cut, like long form. You can follow any of this, not a big issue. And then IP add. So no, on which particular interface do you want to add? Gig 0/1, right? Yeah. Wait a second, I'll put it here so it's visible. Okay. Interface gig 0/1. What is the IP address of the interface? 30.0.0.2.2. And what is the subnet mask? It is /24. Okay, done. Now no shutdown. Okay, and similarly you need to configure for the 0/0. And what is the IP address of it? IP address is, look at here, the IP address is 40.0.0.2. So 40, and then subnet mask remains the same. So yeah, and again no shutdown. So the interface it turned up. You can see it's still red because we haven't configured this particular thing. I'll go to this configure again. Just follow enable configure terminal, then which interface? Gig 0/0 interface G 0/0 IP add. Uh, Look at here. Uh, it is 50.0.0.1. I'll do the same 50.0.0.1. 255.255.255.255.0 uses subnet mask and no shutdown. And similarly, I have to do for gig 0/1, and for gig 0/1 you can see it is 40.0.0.1, 40.0.0.1, and subnet mask is the same, and no shutdown. Okay, so this one particular, we missed one thing. Like, see, we have configured everything, but still this is red because the thing is we missed here. Like, we missed to configure the G0/2 interface here in the router 0, I guess. We didn't name it. Yeah, this is router 0. It is, yeah, this is router 0. So we forgot to put on the interface name, configure that particular interface. So to do that, you check the what all interfaces are there. You can be like do show IP. So you can see no, you can like do show interface brief of spelling mistake. Shit. Okay. To check this, you can what you can do is just check on here. Go to the physical thing, see configuration and check. So we haven't configured anything. Like this is a basic way you can just put on directly enter the IP address here. But I'll suggest you don't prefer this approach. Best go with that CLI thing and just you can put it on. So that's how. But I'll suggest you don't go with this. Make sure you learn these things through the commands itself from the CLI. So we'll do it from CLI itself. Now I'll be like interface G0/2 IP add 50 50.0.0.2 255.255.255.0. No message. Now see, initially we didn't give this, right, so it automatically happened for 0/1 and 0/0. Similarly it happened. You can check over here. So now basically every configuration is done, and for every router and every PC the IP address has been assigned. But what if I want to just communicate from so I want to ping 30.0.0.1? Do you think it will send a packet? No, it won't. It will be destination host unreachable. Why? Because we don't have any route to that particular location. So in order to make a route, so in order to establish a route between 10.0.1 and 30.0.1, so what happens is whenever we are in a router, it cannot route outside of its like. So what happens is, so whenever I want to route from this particular location, this particular router only knows about 10 network, 20 network, and 15 network. It is unaware of the 40 network and 30 network. So how it will be able to send? So that's the reason it was getting destination host unreachable. But if I want to just reach this particular PC, so the this particular PC will send a packet to the router, and router knows that it is connected to this particular 20 network and has the route to it. So it will basically send the packet. You can see here. Okay, it is sending the packet. But when the same case happens with 30, it cannot send the packet because it doesn't have the route. So in order to solve this problem, we have something called a static route. Static route, there are many different ways to configure a static route. We'll go through it one by one. So The first one, the first static route which we are going to discuss is nothing but, let's write over here. It is like, it is called as a recursive static route, which we are going to discuss right now. And to configure this, uh, we have to do this. Like, I'll give the command here. Before I could explain, I'll put on the command. You can just check over it. It's like destination network ID, and then comes the subnet mask. I'll do one thing. I'll just copy from here. Copy. I'll just paste here. Okay, done. So subnet mask and then IP route destination network ID subnet mask, and then you have something called as next hop address, which I'm going to explain it. Not a big issue. So we are going to learn about recursive route. Okay. So we are going to learn about something called as recursive route, and to configure that, this is the command we are going to follow. But I'll explain you step by step how it happens. So as I told, this particular router only knows about the directly connected networks. So what are the directly connected networks for this particular router? The directly connected networks for this particular router are 10.0.0, 20.0.0, and 50.0.0. If you can hover over it, it will show you. Just go on to the router and hover over it. You will see the IP addresses of the directly connected ones. So as you cannot see the IP addresses of these things, right? So we need to configure it. So how we are going to configure it? We are using something called a static route, namely a recursive static route, which is like, this is the following command which we are going to follow. And here what you can see is this is the network ID. Okay, and the next stop is like, what is the next router you are going to encounter? Okay, that's what a next hop means. So you need to give the address of that particular router. So if I start from here, what is the next router I am going to um, like encounter? Well, I want to send a packet to 30, so the next router I would encounter is definitely router 1. So that's how you can give that particular thing. So I'll just configure one particular thing and I'll show. uh, I'll configure for router 0. I'll just configure it for, see, I'll just show here. I'll just put over here. Okay. Yeah. It took a time. That's not an issue. So let's continue. So now I just wanted to tell that, as I've already shown. So this thing, I just want to configure it for uh, the remaining routes. As I have already said, if you hover over it, wait, it's not showing. Let me just hover over it. Yeah, when you hover over it, you can see what are the directly connected ones. Okay, or you can just go here and You can type like do show IP route. It will show you what are all the things which are directly connected. The ones with C code are the ones which are directly connected. So here, as you can see, the C code is which is known as directly connected one. Okay, and so you want the ones which are directly connected is what the router can reach. So those are the routes or routes which router already knows. So we want to, when we want to reach this particular location, the router must know about these particular routes. Configure it. We have a particular thing, a particular command, which is called also known as a recursive static routing approach. So it will be like IP route. So as you can see here, the next thing is you need to enter the destination network ID. So what is the destination network ID? Whenever want to reach this particular thing, so it is 30.0.0, 30.0.0.0. See, this is the network ID. Okay, don't get confused with this particular IP. This is the IP of the interface and this is the IP of the PC. But this particular thing is the IP address of the network. So network ID. So IP, we have the network IP address, and then subnet mask, as we are using /24 as a CIDR. So that is a subnet mask. And the next hop address, as I already told, if you start from here, what would be the next router you're going to encounter? So that is router 1. What is the interface? We'll go through the interface of gig 0/0. What is the IP address of that particular interface? 50.0.0.1. So we'll go with 50.0.0.1. Okay. Inconsistent subnet mask. I don't know what was the issue, but yeah, the same thing. But first thing I noticed is, first of all, you need to go in order. So you need to configure first of all the 41 0 0 255.2 55.2 55.0. Next hop is 50.0.0.1. Let me just do it. And then you have configured to show IP route. It will show what are the things you have already configured. So we have configured for 40, we have configured for 30 as well. So for this particular router, I have configured the static routes. For the next router, I'll show you clearly. Yeah. For the previous router, there was like a little bit issue. I don't know. Maybe issue with the this thing Cisco packet tracer. That's not our issue. IP IP route. What is the destination we want to reach? We know for this particular route, it knows about 50 network and 40 network, and it is unaware of 10, 20, and 30. So if you want to cross check what and all network it already knows, you can type a command which is like do show IP route. So this command will show you what are the already connected ones. Ones with the C code here, you can see here. Ones with the C code here are the ones which are directly connected. We have two C codes here, 40 and 50. So I need to configure for remaining. I will like IP route 30.0.0. Okay. This subnet corresponds to the destination this thing. So one with the destination network ID, the corresponding subnet mask is what I am typing here. It is, sorry, because it is /24. And then next hop address would be 10.0.0.2, because starting from here, if you want to go to this network, I need to cross this. So 10.0.0.2, align enter. And similarly, we have two more things we need to configure. One is 10.0.0.1. It is 255.255.255.0. So I have configured for this. Sorry, it should be like the network. Be sure about it. So this is the network I am configuring it here, and the particular CIDR is what I have typed it over here. And then from which particular router am I going through? I have to go through this particular router, right? So what is the IP address of that particular thing? It is shit. Need to type it again. We route 10.0.0.0 255.255.255.0, and then it goes through 50.0.0.2. Done. Okay. Similarly for 20 network also you need to do, and it follows this. It goes through, as you can see, to reach 20 from this particular router you need to go through this, which is the next hop. So similar thing remains. So we have configured it. So just check. I'll just check. To check what all are the routes which are configured on this router, you can you have a command which is called do show IP route, which will show you everything. Like one with S flag are the static ones. So from this particular router, we don't know these three particular routes previously, but now we have configured using static route. So these are the particular routes we have configured. It's like 10 of to reach 10 network, we need to go via 50, like 50.0.0.2. And to reach 20 network, we need to go via 50.0.0.2 starting from router 1. And starting from router 1, if I want to reach 30.0.0.1, I need to go through this particular router, which is 40 point. Okay, okay, sorry, it's 40, 40. So we wrongly typed it. You can just, let's say, here we made a mistake. So if I want to go to the 30 network, it's telling go via 10.0.0.2. And we need to configure for this as well. AP route, the configure for this particular router. I know about this, but I don't know about 50, 10, and 20, right? So I'll be like 50.0.0.0, which has a subnet mask of this thing, and I need to go through 40.0.0.1. Let's check, cross check again. Maybe, yeah, yeah, now it's correct. So, yeah. And then similarly for 20, and similarly for 10 as well. Okay, like to show IP route. Now I have these static routes configured from here. Okay, directly connected are 30 and 40. Yeah. So we have configured everything, right? Are you sure? Yeah, let's just check here. We'll get to know. I want to ping. So previously we pinged 30.0.0.1 and we couldn't connect to it. So now try to ping. We'll definitely connect to it. But initially there is, and I'm not explaining the ARP and ICMP process over here. I'll explain it in the next coming up video, because I'm sure to explain that particular thing, I'll take up the ARP packet and I'll take up the ICMP packet and explain it to you clearly. For now, don't bother about it. Don't think about it. I'll also tell what are the other static routes available, and how it is better than recursive. So this is the disadvantage. Recursive lookup is what the disadvantage we'll be talking about in our next session. And If you are still watching this video, I think you must have understood the concept very well. If not, you can just go rewind the video and check it once again. And I'll make sure I'll make a much better video on the upcoming videos which are I put it on YouTube. They'll be mostly on static routing because that's the first topic I want to complete. That's practically much more important. And if you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe. And that's it. Happy learning.